Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the whole world is trying to make you forget who you really are? From the moment you wake up, sounds, screens, and information try to capture your attention. It's as if an invisible force is programming you to vibrate at the wrong frequency. And the worst part is, it works. When you feel tired for no reason, anxiety that comes from nowhere, or an emptiness that no achievement fills, it's not just a symptom of modern life. It's an energetic interference. There are forces that feed on your low vibration: fear, guilt, anger, comparison. They want you to stay in this cycle. They want you to be distracted, to doubt the power that lies within you. Because when you discover your true frequency, everything changes. Reality begins to respond. But there's a secret. The universe always responds to your vibration, and that's exactly why they try to distort it. Today, I'll show you how to identify these energy traps, how to protect your frequency, and how to reconnect with the energy that attracts everything you dream of. This video is not just a reflection, it's a spiritual wake-up call. If you've come this far, it's not by chance. It's the universe saying, wake up. They are distracting you from your purpose, and it's time for you to get back into the right vibration. Have you ever noticed how your mind suddenly feels more tired, as if an invisible cloud hovers over your thoughts, stealing the clarity and peace you once found so easily? This sensation is no coincidence. We live in a constant vibrational field, and everything around us, sounds, images, emotions, interferes with this frequency. What few people realize is that there are forces, both physical and spiritual, that actively work to keep people vibrating low, trapped in fear, guilt, and doubt. The denser your energy, the more disconnected you become from source, and the easier it is to manipulate your choices. This war isn't visible, but it rages every day within you, between what you feel and what the world wants you to feel. The most subtle means are the most dangerous. Negative news repeated dozens of times, constant comparison on social media, a competitive environment. All of these drain your vital energy without you even realizing it. The world has learned to transform human emotions into energy fuel, and fear is the most powerful of them. Every time you vibrate with anxiety, guilt, or anger, your frequency lowers, and with it, your ability to manifest weakens. And the weaker your vibrational field, the more the invisible takes advantage of it to plant ideas and emotions that aren't even yours. Emotional chaos becomes routine, and the body begins to react as if anguish were natural. But here's the truth that almost no one has the courage to say: spiritual disconnection is a strategy. The system wants you too busy to realize that true power lies in silencing the internal noise. They want you to depend on external distractions, because every second of lost attention is a second of diverted vibration. This is why many feel a void that nothing fills. They seek in consumption, screens, and the opinions of others a sense of belonging that, deep down, is spiritual. The plan is simple. The more you distract yourself, the easier it is to control your vibration frequency. And the most alarming thing is that most people don't even know they are being controlled. Vibration manipulation happens so cleverly that it seems natural. Fear disguises itself as prudence, doubt as realism, apathy as normal life. When you believe you're just being rational, you're often actually reproducing thoughts induced by low frequencies that infiltrate the collective. Dense vibrations are contagious. They enter through the ears, the eyes, the feelings, and take the form of thoughts. That's why you sometimes feel sadness for no reason, tiredness upon waking, or even anger over small things. You're picking up waves that aren't yours, emotional echoes of a globally manipulated frequency. However, there's one thing the vibrational system can't control: awakened consciousness. When you become aware that you're being energetically bombarded, the simple act of noticing raises your frequency. Consciousness is the antithesis of manipulation. It's the divine spark that no algorithm, no media, and no negative spiritual force can corrupt. It's the moment you understand that your thoughts are portals, and that you can decide what enters and leaves your mind. That's when the energetic war begins to lose strength, because those who observe the deception no longer vibrate in the deception. Therefore, before any manifestation technique, before any prayer or positive affirmation, the first step is vibrational awakening. You need to regain ownership of your energy field. Silence the noise. Observe what you consume. Question the emotions you feel. Are they yours, or were they planted? This is the question that separates the awakened from the asleep. Those who decide what they feel begin to decide what they attract. And those who understand what's happening within themselves begin to see clearly what's happening around them. The right vibration isn't just an emotional state. It's an act of spiritual resistance against a world that profits from your confusion. There's a war going on right now, and the battlefield isn't physical. It's vibrating all around you, in waves that can't be seen, but that shape what you feel, think, and believe. These invisible frequencies are designed to appear harmless. They're in the music you hear, the images that flash across your screen, the words the world repeats as if they were truth. They're sounds, colors, and coded messages that program your energy field without you even realizing it. They act on your subconscious, gradually lowering your vibration until fear becomes normal and doubt seems logical. It's an ancient mechanism, perfected with modern technology. Everything vibrates. This isn't just a spiritual belief, it's a universal physical law. The atom that makes up your body vibrates, sound vibrates, light vibrates, and so does thought. The problem is that human thought has been hijacked by synthetic vibrations, artificial frequencies created to disrupt the natural balance between mind and soul. When you feel constantly anxious, irritable, or empty, it's not just psychological, it's resonance. You are unknowingly attuned to a vibrational field that doesn't belong to your essence. And the longer you stay there, the further away you become from your true energy. This is why many feel disconnected from themselves, even when surrounded by everything the world has to offer. These frequencies are silent, but extremely intelligent. They adapt to your routine and mimic what you enjoy. When you consume something that seems harmless, a repetitive song, a sequence of short videos, a judgmental conversation, you are absorbing energetic patterns that become part of your vibration. The vibe is contagious. Like a virus, it spreads through attention. What you watch, listen to, and believe begins to define the energy your body emits. This is why the world is increasingly noisy. The more noise, the less clarity. The more distraction, the less power. The right frequency demands silence, but silence is what most people try to avoid. The ancient spiritual masters already knew this. They understood that humanity would be manipulated not by weapons, but by vibrations. Sounds disguised as entertainment. Words that seemed neutral but carried intention. Each era has its methods, and in this one, the control is energetic. Modern manipulation happens by frequency, not by physical imposition. You don't need to be imprisoned if you're emotionally captive. Fear paralyzes you more than any chain. And fear is the easiest vibrational note to reproduce in the collective. It's invisible, but it propagates en masse, creating a global field of dense vibration, the perfect kind of energy to keep people away from their own power. But the good news is that every vibration can be recalibrated. The universe operates in harmony, and every dissonance can be corrected. When you change what you consume, you change what you feel. When you change what you feel, you change what you attract. Reversing control begins when you learn to listen to what the world wants you to ignore. The sound of your own energy. It's an internal music that's always been playing, but has been drowned out by external interference. When you reconnect with it, through prayer, meditation, conscious breathing, or silence, the control begins to break. The invisible that oppressed you begins to obey you because your vibration stops reacting and begins to command. Relearning how to vibrate is an act of liberation. It's understanding that you don't need to fight invisible forces. Just step out of their frequency. Darkness is not destroyed with force, but with light. When you raise your vibration, all lower energy loses access. Negative sounds, extraneous thoughts, and dense emotions simply dissolve. It's like changing stations. The frequency that previously affected you no longer reaches you. And it's at this point that you consciously manifest again, not out of fear, but out of power. The invisible always tries to control those who have forgotten who they are, but the awakened remember, and when they remember, nothing holds them back. Have you ever noticed how life seems to constantly push you to feel fear, anger, envy, or guilt? It's as if the world knows exactly which buttons to push within you to drain your energy. This is emotional deception, an invisible mechanism that makes people voluntarily surrender the most precious vibration they possess, their heart rate. When you vibrate fear, you are emitting energy that the system needs to continue existing. When you vibrate anger, you reinforce the collective field of chaos. And when you vibrate guilt, you weaken your creative power. With each sustained negative emotion, you feed the very mechanism that wants to control your life. What nobody told you is that emotions are the bridge between the invisible and the physical. Everything that exists is born of emotion. Emotion is the fuel of manifestation. What you feel is what the universe understands as vibrational order. The problem is that when emotions are manipulated, you manifest what you don't want. Dense forces don't need to force you. They just make you feel what they want. And the most subtle thing is that they do this by disguising negativity as realism. They say that feeling fear is prudence, that holding a grudge is being right, that competition is natural. But the result is the same. The more you feel pain, the more the invisible gains strength. This is why emotions are the primary spiritual battlefield. It's not a war of weapons, but of feelings. The enemy doesn't want your body. He wants your emotional field. He knows that as long as he controls what you feel, he controls what you create. And therein lies the greatest danger. You begin to believe that life is suffering. You wake up tired, easily irritated, and feel that joy has become rare. This isn't adulthood or modern routine. It's the reflection of an entire world vibrating at the same rate of pain. It's a global energy field created by millions of people feeling the same emotion, helplessness. And within this field, the invisible finds fertile ground. But the human body is a divine antenna, and this antenna can change frequency at any moment. The secret lies in emotional awareness. When you observe what you feel without sinking into the feeling, control breaks. When you decide not to react, but to understand, the system loses power. Because the observer's vibration is different from the prisoner's. The prisoner feels, the observer awakens. And the awakened understand. No one can steal your energy if you decide to vibrate above fear. It is at this point that the invisible begins to become visible, and control, irrelevant. To the system, anger and sadness are like fuel, but to the awakened soul, they are merely signals. Every negative emotion is a coded message from the spirit itself saying, something here is not in harmony. When you begin to see emotion as a guide, not a punishment, everything changes. Pain transforms into wisdom, fear into clarity, guilt into forgiveness. You stop being a victim of vibration and become its conductor. True liberation does not happen when you stop feeling, but when you understand what you are feeling. Consciousness is the filter that separates what is manipulation from what is learning. Reversing emotional deception is the first step to reprogramming your reality. And it starts the moment you decide to stop blaming yourself for feeling. You did not fail spiritually because you were afraid or sad. You simply forgot that these emotions don't define who you are. They're just temporary frequencies that can be raised. Every time you choose love over fear, compassion over anger, forgiveness over blame, the system loses power. And it's in this silent choice that the invisible bends. Because the universe always responds to the vibration of the awakened heart, and no dark force can imitate it. For a long time, I also believed that controlling everything was the way to protect my peace. I tried to predict the future, fix the past, plan every detail of my life as if control were synonymous with security. But one day I realized that this need to control was precisely what kept me from the right vibration. Control is the subtlest disguise for fear. It stems from distrust in the flow of the universe, from the unconscious belief that if I don't push, everything will fall apart. And that's precisely where energy gets blocked. The universe doesn't respond to tension. It responds to surrender. And those who try to control everything end up trapped in their own expectations. When we believe we are in control of every outcome, we forget the simplest principle of creation. Energy flows only where there is space. And control fills all space with anxiety. The desire to guarantee the outcome prevents the invisible from working in our favor. It's like planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it's growing. Control is the impatient gesture of someone who doesn't yet trust. And this distrust vibrates fear, the densest frequency there is. The system knows this, which is why it encourages perfectionism, comparison, and the need for approval. Every thought of, "I need to hold everything together," is an energetic prison disguised as prudence. But there comes a time when the soul tires of fighting the flow. And when it surrenders, something extraordinary happens. Silence emerges. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is divine presence. It is the point at which external voices fall silent and the soul begins to speak. In this silence, truth reveals itself not in words, but in vibration. You begin to feel the universe responding to you in subtle ways. A shiver, a sudden calm, an insight that emerges from nowhere. Silence is the language of the invisible, and whoever learns to listen to it will never be lost again. Because the soul always knew the way, it was just being drowned out by the noise of control. In silence, we discover that we don't need to change the world, just our own vibration. When the inner self aligns, the outer self reorganizes. When the mind is silent, the heart leads. When the soul trusts, the invisible acts. The peace that arises from this doesn't depend on circumstances, because it comes from recognizing one's connection to the whole. This is why silence is feared by those in control, because in it, you reconnect with the power that cannot be manipulated. Silence is the most peaceful and powerful rebellion there is. It is where you stop reacting and start creating. This is the point where awakening begins to become transformation. You realize there are no enemies outside of you, only vibrations that respond to what you emit. Everything that hurts you is simply showing you where fear still exists. Everything that irritates you shows where you still try to control. And everything that silences you shows where the universe is asking you for trust. This is how the soul teaches, through small pauses, through emptiness, through waiting. And when you finally accept the divine rhythm, something changes forever. Fear loses its flavor. Control dissolves. And the flow guides you once again. So, if today you feel tired of trying to solve everything on your own, maybe it's time to stop, take a deep breath, and let go. It's not giving up. It's trusting. It's not weakness. It's faith. The universe doesn't need your rush. It needs your right vibration. And it only emerges when you let silence heal the noise. The vibration of the soul does not impose itself. It manifests itself when fear is silenced. In that instant, the invisible moves. And what seemed impossible begins to happen. Not because you controlled it, but because you finally learned to let go. Energy flows again. Life begins to hear again. There's a moment in the spiritual journey when the invisible ceases to be just an idea and begins to manifest in real life. It's the point at which you begin to realize that nothing happens by chance, that the right people appear, that words arrive at just the right moment, that even the silence of the day seems to contain messages. This is the vibrational awakening, the moment your energy finally aligns with the divine field and the universe begins to respond to you. It doesn't shout. It doesn't make a fuss. It whispers. And those who have learned to silence the inner noise begin to hear these whispers clearly. It's the moment you understand. Manifestation doesn't begin when something appears, but when you change your vibration. Everything around you seems the same, but something has changed within you. The same situations now affect you less. The same people no longer drain your energy. What once seemed like chaos begins to make sense. It's as if a filter has been removed from your eyes. And for the first time, you see that life has always been guiding you. This is the power of restored vibration. The invisible responds subtly, testing your perception. A repeating number, a phrase in a book, a song that speaks what you needed to hear. These are the signs that the universe is confirming its new frequency. It's not a coincidence. It's confirmation. Vibrational awakening is more than feeling peace. It's being in tune with purpose. When the soul is aligned, everything flows with a lightness that seems miraculous. You begin to feel that there's a force orchestrating every detail, even the challenges. Closing doors stop being tragedies and become directions. Delay stops being obstacles and becomes protection. And it's in this state that manifestation accelerates, because resistance disappears. You no longer ask out of fear, you trust. You no longer seek urgency, but certainty. And the universe responds to certainty with abundance. But vibrational awakening also requires vigilance. Because when the energy rises, dense frequencies try to pull you back. People start testing you, old situations resurface, and the system tries to reactivate its triggers. It's the shadow's last-ditch effort before full expansion. And that's when many give up. But those who understand the process remain steadfast. The universe always tests constancy before releasing the miracle. If you feel old patterns returning, don't blame yourself. Celebrate. It means the energy is being purified. What resurfaces isn't failure, it's liberation. Over time, vibrational awakening ceases to be a moment and becomes a state. You begin to live consciously in each vibration, choosing what you feel with purpose. Intuition becomes your primary language, and fear recedes. You learn to differentiate the noise of the soul, the impulse from inspiration, the desire from the calling. This is how the invisible communicates with those who awaken, not through words, but through frequency. Those who vibrate high become a living antenna of the divine presence. And when that happens, even the impossible begins to obey. It's at this point that life takes on new color. The air seems lighter, the days brighter, and faith more alive. You feel like you're not just living. You're participating in something sacred. Every breath becomes a prayer. Every step a creative act. You realize you don't need to seek the universe, because it's already within you. Vibrational awakening is the reunion with one's own origin. It's remembering that everything you ask for already exists, just waiting for you to vibrate at the right frequency. And when you vibrate in this harmony, the invisible bends, the impossible becomes reality, and your heart understands. The universe has always been listening. You're the one who has finally learned to listen. Everything that exists began as a thought. Before form, there was intention. Before matter, a vibration. The entire universe is an echo of divine ideas that chose to become visible. And within you, this same creative power pulsates every second. Every thought you have emits a wave. Every emotion that accompanies it strengthens that wave. When mind and heart vibrate together, the invisible begins to take shape. This is how the universe responds. It translates vibration into reality. But when the heart feels one thing and the mind thinks another, the frequency fragments, and what emerges is confusion. The secret to manifestation is to align feeling and thinking in the same direction. The field of manifestation is like a cosmic mirror. It doesn't judge, it doesn't choose, it doesn't decide what's good or bad. It simply reflects. Everything you send returns. Everything you vibrate attracts. That's why, when someone keeps repeating, "Nothing works," the universe responds, "So be it." The field doesn't understand words, it understands vibrations. And that's why the most powerful prayer isn't the spoken one, but the felt one. It's not the request made aloud, but the one that pulses silently within the heart. Vibration is the language that God understands without translation. And when it is pure, there is no obstacle capable of resisting it. But most people manifest this unconsciously. They ask for a life of peace while vibrating fear. They ask for prosperity while feeling scarcity. They ask for love while believing they don't deserve to be loved. This creates a vibrational dissonance. The field receives confusing signals and responds with unstable results. The universe isn't cruel, it's precise. It returns exactly what you send out, not what you rationally desire. What you feel is the vibrational password that authorizes manifestation. That's why changing reality without changing vibration is like trying to tune into the wrong station and complaining about the sound. The problem was never the universe, it's the frequency. When you learn to observe your feelings before acting, you begin to master the field of manifestation. Conscious thought becomes a tool, not a prison. Emotion becomes fuel, not a trap. You begin to realize that manifesting isn't about asking, it's about vibrating in tune with what already exists. The invisible isn't the future, it's the present that hasn't yet been seen. And when you understand this, you stop asking and start being grateful. Gratitude is the fastest code of communication with the universe because it carries the vibration of certainty. Whoever gives thanks before receiving has already entered the frequency of receiving. It's at this point that the field begins to respond quickly. Things seem like coincidences, but they are synchronicities. People appear, doors open, ideas blossom. The invisible organizes itself around those who vibrate truthfully. And the more you recognize these signs, the more the flow accelerates. It's an energetic dance between you and the whole. The universe isn't external. It's a mirror of your inner vibration. When you change inside, the outside bends. And this isn't philosophy, it's vibrational law. The field doesn't create for you, it creates through you. So, if you want to change reality, start with the vibration that sustains your thoughts. Every idea carries an emotion, and each emotion shapes what follows. The field of manifestation is neutral, but your mind is not. The mind is the brush, the emotion is the paint, and the universe is the canvas. What are you painting today? Fear or faith? Doubt or surrender? The field is always listening, and what it hears, it carries out. You don't attract what you desire. You attract what you believe you are. When this truth sinks in, power returns to your hands, and the invisible, which seemed distant, begins to respond with the strength of one who has always wanted to be heard. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when the universe falls silent. No sign seems to appear. Doors that were opening close again. And the heart, once full of hope, feels the weight of doubt. This is the most delicate moment in the vibrational process, the test. When the vibration rises, the universe needs to confirm its stability. And that's why, sometimes, life seems to go backward. It's not punishment, it's calibration. The universe isn't ignoring you, it's preparing you. He wants to know if you trust even when you can't see it, if you keep vibrating even when the outlook seems dark. This is where many give up, but it's also where miracles are born. Spiritual tests are like vibrational mirrors. They don't appear to punish you, but to show you where your frequency still wavers. When you ask for prosperity, the universe may test you with scarcity, not to deny you, but to see if you vibrate abundance even without proof. When you ask for love, you may face loneliness, so you learn to love yourself before being loved. When you ask for strength, situations that require courage will arise. Each challenge is a question in disguise. Do you really believe what you asked for? And the answer is not given in words, but in energy. The universe reads your reactions, not your prayers. These tests are necessary because it's easy to vibrate high when everything is going well. True power lies in maintaining that vibration when nothing makes sense. This is when faith ceases to be theory and becomes a living frequency. The ancients called this the dark night of the soul, the period when the spirit seems abandoned but is being refined. It's when the invisible works silently, reorganizing what you can't see. Silence is the hardest test because it forces you to listen to your own vibration. The universe doesn't respond because it wants to see if you can still hear it. And when you decide to keep believing even without a signal, the vibration stabilizes and the field opens again. The awakened soul learns to recognize these trials as opportunities for expansion. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" it begins to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" It's a powerful shift. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as a co-author of the learning process. Each obstacle becomes a vibrational portal. As you cross it, your energy is refined, your faith matures, and your mind becomes a channel of light. The test is not the end of the journey. It is confirmation that you are ready for the next level. Only those who cross the silence with faith know the sound of the miracle. It's important to remember. The universe never takes away what's yours. It merely postpones it until you're vibrating at the right frequency to receive. Waiting isn't a waste, it's preparation. When everything seems to have stopped, it's because the invisible is rearranging the visible. And what you call delay, God calls alignment. While the impatient complain, the awakened give thanks, knowing the field must ripen before the harvest. Faith is the vibration that transforms the test into a miracle. When she stands her ground, circumstances bend, and the universe confirms, now you are ready. So if you feel like you're being tested, don't run away. Take a deep breath and stay. Don't lower your frequency because of the wait. Every tear, every doubt, every moment of silence has a purpose. The universe never misses the timing of those who vibrate with faith. Tests are not there to break you, but to prove that you are unbreakable. And when the test ends, the vibration shifts, the energy expands, and what was invisible begins to take shape before your eyes. This is the moment the universe smiles, because you not only believed, you held the light when everything seemed dark. And that's what makes you ready for what comes next. After the silent storm comes movement. Not suddenly, but like a gentle breeze heralding a new season. You begin to realize that the universe has quietly begun to act in your favor. People appear with the right words, unlikely situations fall into place, and what once seemed stuck begins to flow. These are the invisible opportunities, those that don't appear labeled as miracles, but carry the energy of miracles. When the universe moves its pieces, nothing is by chance. Every encounter, every delay, every change of course is a vibrational response saying, now the path is clear. These opportunities aren't luck. They're a reflection. The universe doesn't deliver what you want. It delivers what you vibrate. And when your vibration changes, the surrounding field reorganizes. People who previously walked away return. Doors that seemed closed open in a new way. Sometimes it's not a major external shift, but a sequence of small signs that align with divine precision. It's like watching a cosmic puzzle come together before you. Life isn't happening against you. It's adjusting for you. The invisible works in silence, moving everything so that the manifestation arrives at the right time and along the perfect path. Many call this coincidence, but those who awaken know there is no such thing as chance in a universe governed by vibration. What we call chance is just the name we give to synchronicity when we don't yet understand its origin. When your energy rises, the universe becomes cooperative. It introduces you to people, ideas, and paths that were hidden until you vibrated at the right frequency to see them. That's why, when the vibration changes, you don't need to chase after it. What's yours begins to find you. Opportunity is not what appears. It is what you now have eyes to see. These subtle movements require sensitivity. The universe doesn't shout, it whispers. And those who still vibrate with fear, despair, or doubt don't listen. Opportunities go unnoticed for those who live with an agitated mind. But for those who have learned to silence the noise, everything begins to shine differently. A simple phrase spoken by someone can become a calling. An obstacle can hide a detour that saves you. The invisible speaks through synchronicity, and those who live awake live attentive. Spiritual sensitivity is the radar that captures what the eyes cannot see. From that point on, something inside you changes irreversibly. You stop seeking proof and start recognizing confirmations. You stop doubting and start aligning. Opportunities begin to appear with such precision that you understand. The universe has always been helping you. You just didn't realize it. The right vibration makes the impossible seem logical. And the more you give thanks, the more the field expands. Gratitude is the sign that the miracle has already begun. It doesn't attract the future. It opens the present. And in the present, the universe acts with absolute power. So, if you've been seeing unlikely coincidences lately, people returning, or paths opening out of nowhere, know this. The invisible has already begun to move things. Don't doubt these signs. because this is how the universe speaks to those who have learned to listen. The right vibration doesn't force, it attracts. And when it stabilizes, the physical world has no choice but to respond. Everything you've silently desired begins to approach in the form of opportunities, messages, and encounters. The only task now is to remain open. The universe has already understood your request. Now it's simply guiding you to the destiny you yourself have manifested. There comes a moment in the spiritual journey when the soul simply falls silent and understands. It's already done. There's no longer any need to prove, to convince, or to rush. It's as if an invisible weight has been lifted from your shoulders, and suddenly you can breathe more deeply. This peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the silent certainty that everything is on the right path. It is the moment when the vibration stops oscillating and the heart becomes the center of creation. What was once seeking becomes trust. What was once doubt becomes surrender. And in this state, the universe responds almost immediately, because you are finally vibrating at the frequency of love, the most powerful of all. The return of peace doesn't come from outside. It arises when the soul understands that there is nothing to fear, because the invisible is on its side. When you stop fighting the flow, you begin to float with it. Things that once required effort now happen naturally. The right people arrive, situations are resolved, and even challenges become lighter. The energy of peace is magnetic. It attracts without needing to be asked. It's like a light shining in the dark. It doesn't need to attract attention. It simply shines, and everything around it is drawn to it. In this state, the universe reorganizes itself harmoniously, because the vibration of love is the Creator's signature. Many seek peace by trying to change the world, but the secret is the opposite. When you change your frequency, the world changes around you. The vibration of peace is the highest field of manifestation because it dissolves resistance. Fear, control, haste, all dissolve into serenity. A peaceful heart becomes a portal of miracles. It is in this state that prayers are answered before they are finished, that synchronicities multiply, that healings occur without explanation. Not because reality has suddenly changed, but because you have changed the vibration that creates reality. The exterior is only a reflection of the pacified interior. The return of peace also brings a new perception of time. Urgency disappears because you understand that everything happens at the exact moment it's supposed to. This understanding dissolves anxiety and expands faith. You begin to feel gratitude even before you see results. This gratitude is the vibrational proof that manifestation is already underway. Peace is the sound the universe makes when the soul returns home. It's not noisy, it's steady. It's not a passing emotion, it's a permanent state. And the longer you stay in it, the faster the invisible materializes. In this state of high vibration, even difficult situations become messages. A delay becomes protection. A no becomes a redirection. A loss reveals itself as space for the new. You understand that the universe never denies you anything. It only realigns you to what resonates with your soul. Peace is the filter that prevents the ego from interfering with divine responses. Those who vibrate in peace do not need to understand. They just need to trust. And trust is the purest form of faith. When the soul trusts, the universe moves in haste. So if you feel like you've finally found serenity after so much noise, celebrate. You've reached a point few ever reach, the vibrational field of certainty. Nothing can shake you because you no longer depend on what you see. You are guided by what you feel. And what you feel is God moving within you. The heart at peace is the altar where the invisible becomes visible. It is on this altar that love creates, that faith materializes, and that the universe recognizes the sound of its vibration. The magnet of manifestation is not desire. It is love that vibrates silently and attracts all that is in harmony with it. There's a secret few understand. The universe doesn't respond to requests. It responds to the vibration of those who have already received them. When you ask, you emit desire. When you give thanks before seeing, you emit certainty. And it's this certainty that changes everything. Anticipatory gratitude is the most powerful code for manifestation because it breaks the cycle of doubt. It tells the universe, I trust so much that I already celebrate. In that instant, the vibrational field aligns with the desired outcome, and the invisible begins to move at high speed. Those who give thanks before seeing prove that they already vibrate like those who have it. And the universe always responds to the vibration of spiritual possession. Gratitude is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It's the state of mind that dissolves all resistance. While fear demands, faith thanks. While doubt questions, gratitude confirms. When you truly give thanks, not with words, but with emotion, something realigns within and without you. Your energy field emits a frequency of expansion, and the universe interprets this as a command. Keep sending more of this. To give thanks is to declare to the cosmos that the miracle has already been received. It is changing from the vibration of lack to the vibration of abundance, even before seeing the result. This spiritual practice doesn't depend on religion, but on vibrational awareness. When you awaken to anticipatory gratitude, everything becomes a sign. Each dawn becomes a blessing. Each breath becomes proof of purpose. You stop waiting for great events to feel grateful, because you understand that the vibration of gratitude is the miracle itself. A heart that vibrates with gratitude attracts peace, opportunities, love, resources, and people on the same frequency. Gratitude isn't pretending everything is okay. It's trusting that everything is turning out well. And this trust creates an energy field so powerful that the universe has no choice but to respond. But the power of anticipated gratitude only reveals itself when it's sincere. It can't be repeated mechanically, like a technique. It needs to come from the heart, with real emotion. When you close your eyes and feel gratitude for something that hasn't happened yet, your body reacts as if it already has. The brain releases the same chemicals. The energy field emits the same wave. The body becomes the proof of faith. This is how the invisible materializes, through vibration felt, not thought. The universe understands emotion, not speech. That's why the most powerful thank you is the one that comes with tears in our eyes. Over time, anticipatory gratitude ceases to be a practice and becomes a state. You live in gratitude. Everything seems to conspire in your favor, because in fact, you've begun to conspire with the universe. When the soul vibrates in this state, there's no room for fear, comparison, or haste. Life flows, answers arrive, and even the unexpected comes with purpose. Gratitude is the frequency of wholeness, the point at which the seeker becomes the finder. It is in this state that the invisible bends, that prayers are answered in silence, and that the impossible becomes commonplace. So, if there's something you're still waiting for, close your eyes now and give thanks. Feel it as if it were already yours. See, in your heart, the result unfolding. Give thanks as if you've already received it, because in the spiritual realm, you have already received it. The vibration of gratitude opens portals that asking would never open, and when this energy stabilizes, the wait ends. The universe simply fulfills what the soul has already confirmed. The secret to manifestation isn't in wanting, it's in giving thanks. Love creates, but it's gratitude that materializes. When you vibrate like this, the universe understands. He already knows it's his. And then finally, it delivers. There comes a point when you realize you've done everything you could. You've prayed, visualized, vibrated, believed. And yet, it seems like nothing moves. It's at that moment that the universe invites you to do the hardest thing. Let go. Stop trying to control the paths and allow the invisible to do the work that only it can do. Release is not giving up. It is confidence in action. It's when you recognize that the power of manifestation lies not in the strength of desire, but in the serenity of surrender. The universe doesn't move in haste. It moves with precision. And when you finally stop pushing, it begins to flow. Final liberation is the purest act of faith there is. It's looking to the heavens and saying, I trust even though I don't understand. It's ceasing to demand proof and beginning to allow miracles. In this state, the soul doesn't plead, it rests. The heart doesn't struggle, it opens. It's the moment you understand that you no longer need to prove how much you believe. The universe has already seen your surrender. When the soul lets go, the divine flow takes over, and what seemed like a blockage becomes movement. The invisible was always ready to act. It just waited for you to stop trying to control the rhythm of the divine. Many people confuse letting go with giving up, but the difference is vibrational. Giving up is renouncing out of fear. Letting go is releasing out of trust. It's surrendering without anxiety, knowing that the energy has already been sent and is simply finding the right path to manifest. When you let go, the universe gains space to work. It's like letting go of the balloon you were holding. It was already ready to rise, but it just needed you to open your hand. The act of letting go is the code that unlocks the last stage of manifestation. Whoever learns to let go learns to receive, and that's when the magic happens. Things start to fall into place effortlessly. Opportunities appear unexpectedly, the right people cross your path, answers arrive silently. It's the universe confirming, now I can act. The flow becomes so natural that you begin to realize that excessive effort was always resistance. When energy moves with ease, the impossible ceases to exist. The universe does not work with effort. It works with harmony. And harmony begins when the soul lets go of control and trusts in the greater plan again. The final release also heals your relationship with time. You stop waiting and start living. Each day becomes part of the miracle in progress. You understand that the not yet isn't denial, it's construction. Everything that seems stagnant is being aligned behind the scenes of the invisible. Time stops being an enemy and becomes an ally. Because now you understand that the universe is never late. It is synchronized with your vibrational evolution. The right time is not fast, it is aligned. And those who vibrate in peace always arrive at the exact moment they need to arrive. So, if today you feel tired of waiting, breathe. Close your eyes and say with faith, I trust and I let go. From that moment on, the invisible begins to act. Nothing is standing still. Everything is being prepared. The universe doesn't forget promises, it fulfills vibrations. And your vibration already tells you that you're ready. Final liberation is the gateway between desire and miracle. It's the moment you let go of control and enter the flow. And those who enter the flow never doubt again, because they discover that when you let the universe act, the universe begins to act through you. There is a sacred moment in every spiritual journey when the invisible decides to reveal itself. What once seemed like a dream, an intuition, or a simple coincidence begins to take shape before your eyes. The pieces fall into place, the paths open, and suddenly, everything makes sense. It is the return of the light, the moment when faith ceases to be waiting and becomes vision. You realize that God's timing never fails, that silence was protection, that trials were preparation, and that delay was alignment. The invisible was never far away. It just waited for the right moment to become visible. This revelation comes not with noise, but with fullness. It doesn't explode like thunder, but shines like the sun rising after a long night. The light doesn't come to prove you right, but to show you've always been guided. When the miracle manifests, you understand that the entire process was the miracle. Every tear, every doubt, every unanswered prayer was part of the divine choreography that brought you here. The manifestation is just the visible outcome of an invisible love that never stopped acting. And in that moment, the heart understands what words could never explain. The return of light is also the return of consciousness. You no longer see the universe as something outside of yourself, but as an extension of your own vibration. Faith becomes constant awareness. You begin to live in a state of surrender, because you realize there is no separation between you and the divine. Everything that exists vibrates at the same frequency of love, and when you vibrate in this harmony, the universe responds with crystal clarity. The demonstration ceases to be an event and becomes a lifestyle. You live in the light, create in the light, and share the light with the world. In this state, love ceases to be a concept and becomes an active force. You don't just receive blessings, you begin to be a channel for them. Words heal, Gestures transform, presence inspires. The universe flows through you, and what was once a struggle becomes a natural creation. This is true vibrational ascension, living not to attract what you want, but to radiate what you are. The awakened soul no longer seeks light, it becomes light. And when you become light, nothing can stop you, because the universe itself recognizes your divine signature. The return of light also marks a new beginning. The cycle of manifestation is complete, but the spiritual journey never ends. Now, you are no longer a seeker trying to understand the signals. You are a conscious emitter of them. Every thought is a prayer. Every feeling is creation. Every act is vibration. And the universe continues to respond, not because you ask, but because you vibrate at the same frequency as the source. The miracle is not what you received, it is who you became. You are now living proof that the invisible has always been by your side, just waiting for you to believe enough to see it. So, right now, take a deep breath and look back at everything that has already happened. Realize how even the delays had a purpose, how even the pain taught faith, and how even the silences carried answers. You're no longer asking, you're giving thanks. And that's the difference between those who wait and those who live in tune with the universe. The light came back on, but it had never gone away. I was just hoping you would open your spirit's eyes to see it again. And now that you have, it will remain. Because the invisible, once revealed, never hides again. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and stay with me on this journey, because what comes next will strengthen your soul even more. In the next videos, we will continue to unlock the spiritual codes that are changing lives and helping people awaken around the world. Share this message with someone you feel needs to hear it today. Maybe this person is on the verge of giving up, and you will be the channel through which the universe reaches them. Why the light that awakens in you has the power to awaken the world. And never forget, you are not what the world says you are. You are what you vibrate. Keep believing, keep emanating love, and keep being living proof that the invisible is real. See you in the next video. And until then, may the universe continue to surround you with peace, abundance, and light.